One. Hello. What's up, world? You got Chief here.
El Americano, Latin American History Month.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Remember that's what Joe got in trouble for the other day when he came out and played Despacito.
Oh, Joe. I didn't know that's why he did it. I just thought he was at a
pandering event.
Yeah, just pandering. Start out with special Friday edition of Chief and Americano. Give our condolences, rest in peace, to Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Sorry if I butchered your name right there, but it's
thoughts to your family. Rest in peace.
Yeah. As everything happens, the world still turns, and we are living right now in a pretty interesting time. So,
and that's a landscape changer in terms of just like a Friday's sort of surprise by what it means.
Yeah, oh man, I mean, like everywhere we look, between all the major people, they're saying Trump's way behind Biden and all this, that, and the other. And then you just kind of see this thing happen. Like how are they going to spin this, how are they going to make this look like a win? Because as you were mentioning, I mean, you can talk about it. He's saying it can't be a 4-4 tie right now. So it has to be.
Well, look, obviously as the election is setting up to be a contested election with mail-in votes, and we can look at what the Democrats have said specifically about extending days for mail-in voting in Pennsylvania, and then again, just basically the idea that this process could take months in the court to figure out, right? And there's always the potential that ultimately this could end up in the hands of the Supreme Court.
Yes.
With Bader Ginsburg dying, it leaves the court right now at 4, basically with the potential to have a 4-4 split.
Yeah.
So it makes it so that they have, I believe that they're not going to have any choice but to allow Trump to basically fulfill.
I'll tell you this though, we know it's going to be real interesting to watch because they're going to fight it tooth and nail. There's nothing that we'll see happen that they're going to make it easy. So,
no.
My man is literally ushering in peace in the Middle East, and they want to cancel a peace prize because he's nominated twice. Oh my God. Like, what world are we living in right now where it's like they hate someone so much they rather just deny? Well, I was going to say
that's what makes the whole death of the Supreme Court judge even more compelling.
Yeah.
Is that it's like at any time, again, like throughout my life, I always remember the breaking news of like a Supreme Court justice either dying or stepping down. I specifically
being appointed, it's like a big deal. Like Thomas, that was a huge deal back then.
I specifically remember when Scalia passed away a few years ago. I specifically remember that thing. So
when no one talked about it, but everyone talked about Prince. Yeah, that was great.
Right. But
I was like,
it just complicates the whole process even more. Especially if they have to more or less but expedite someone through the process in order to get them in place in the event.
Well, I mean,
again, like let's build on that for just 2 seconds because again, it's important because someone like myself and many people that have my frame of mind, we don't really have much faith in the Supreme Court, to be frank with you, whether it's because of recent appointees, but more or less the tie breaking vote that Roberts has basically pulled multiple times when he is siding really with the far left basically. And Obamacare, he was the final decision on Obamacare. He's been the final decision on some of these major rulings. So being able to basically neutralize him with another conservative to someone like myself, and again most conservatives, is a good thing. They're going to be looked at as terrible by the left, obviously, because they're going to say that they're going to roll back Roe versus Wade. And
I mean, it's the same argument. They play the tape, as they say. They play the tape. I just want to say, I had to put my contacts in because I was tired of all the glare on the glasses. But I don't don't wear contacts much, so I feel like they're extra dry right now. I'm trying. So
you don't cry. You don't have to cry, see.
No, I mean, but if I do, will I be supported? That's the question.
You'll be supported.
All right. Well, and then also, switching things around, trying to figure out the best space to be, because Americano, I think he nailed it on the first try. I didn't.
Yeah.
And so right now, as I've been trying to find it, I realized as I set this up, I think this is a pretty solid look right now for the background. I don't know how I feel about it being in here, but I realized in my room I got to get rid of a lot of shit.
You got to clean the desk up.
I mean, not just the desk, the floor, like just so much just random shit where I'm like, why is this still here? Anyway, all right, we'll keep moving on. But I want to give a little update. Tomorrow is what's the date tomorrow? The 19th, Saturday 19th. It is another Save the Children's rally at Hollywood and Vine at 10 a.m. And what we saw that they said that they're going to be going over to Netflix, huh?
Yeah, no, I saw that too specifically. And again, there's some grievances to be aired with Netflix by a lot of people, and this will be the number 3 children's march that we've been to in the last 2 months. Yeah, each one has grown. So I'm actually really looking forward to that to tomorrow morning to sort of see what kind of turnout there is, and again see.
Especially after the whole that I don't know all the rules yet of Netflix or of YouTube, so I will just say with the movie that has controversy right now on Netflix, so there's a lot of stuff going on there. Some people who do or don't know, it's just it's a dance movie talking about or showing featuring like preteens, 10, 11 years old. Scene in there has topless scene in there, has multiple scenes of these
provocative dancing,
preteens twerking. No, you can say what it is. They're twerking. And so one of the guys that Trump has mentioned for Supreme Court in what's his name down over in Texas, we got
Cotton.
Well, Cotton, and then the other cat.
Ted.
Yeah, Ted Cruz. Teddy Bear. Well, he said Ted Cruz actually the one that brought up about investigating that.
Yeah.
And he was the one that, I mentioned it to you, but we put it out here. It's like, being in the industry.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, it's like, number one, the scene that we see, it's multiple takes of that scene, multiple takes at multiple angles. Then
Siaki, give them an example. Are you talking like 2 or sometimes 5?
No, you're talking about. Well, if you have some money to a film, and then you're talking about kids, so like multiple takes have to happen just because they're not professionals.
Yeah.
So if you're able to do a really like get in, get out, you're talking about you get 3, maybe 4, just because y'all feel good to get an extra one. But if people don't know what they're doing, it can be there for a while, right? But Ted Cruz brought up, he goes, that's just the cut we saw. Like how much footage is left on the floor and what is that footage?
Mm-hmm.
And he's calling for an investigation. And I think it's like, to see that we talked about it earlier, Rotten Tomatoes have 90%, critic score when the audience score is about 2 or 3%. Then at the same time, Netflix doubled down. They're saying, well, it won an award. So it's like, that's the standard. So it just wins whose award? Like, why is that award worthy? There's no like conscious, kind of kicking in on this one. So they're defending themselves. And then of course you have those in the upper echelon. And I even saw in the Washington Post saying that it was in the Post saying that basically people who are
against it
is just fueling a QAnon thing or whatever. And you're just like, damn, I don't want to see little girls fucking twerking and topless.
Look, it's not appropriate. It's not appropriate. It's a weaponized, system against our children. And again, that's what has, gotten people involved in multiple different levels. And again, it's why we showed up to this first Save the Children rally 8 weeks ago, and we literally turned the corner and we're like, man, we might literally be the only people here. We had no idea.
and it's just like
you turn the corner. It's like you have people that are passionate about this topic because, again, it's an incredibly important topic. It should be.
And the fact that, like, and I'll put it out here right now because I had, somebody close to me, question if I'm QAnon, and I'm like, what is that? I've heard about him. I know a little bit about him, but like, I wouldn't consider myself anywhere near that. But, if they're talking about, child trafficking and no one else is, and then you associate that with just them, then I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
But I know I'm just against kids being raped. That's what I'm personally, I'm against that. I have to bleep that part out because then you can't say the R word. I know that because I see it everywhere. So
yeah. So it's offensive to the senses, especially if you have children, especially if you have a compass of morality.
Mm-hmm.
But again, we're talking about Hollywood as it stands right now. And again, you're talking about the Harvey Weinsteins and the Roman Polanskis and the Kevin Spaceys, and the list can go on.
He got in trouble again, didn't he?
He was, again, I believe he was last week, Mr.
Yeah, it was last week, yeah.
Accused by a couple other people of some inappropriate stuff. And I saw there was a kid today that was, I don't know if he's a Disney kid, but he's a Netflix kid. He got in trouble for soliciting a bunch of little kids too. So yesterday, black kid.
Oh man!
Basically, I think he's on a cheerleading show.
Oh yeah, I did see a thumbnail on a video earlier talking about he tried to do his own version of that movie on Netflix, and he got caught trying to, like, I guess it was like a audition type setup thing.
Yeah, he's like, it was, and again, it's completely inappropriate stuff, and it's so many of these things. And again, actually, it's a perfect segue to the state of California and the issues that we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
In terms of just sort of like the normalcy bias of like the exploitation of children or the sexualization of children, and it's like with the recent, again, you speak to it better than I do, the SB 145, which was just signed, which is, again, the decriminalization between adult sex with a minor if they're 14 years or older. 10 years.
14 years older, 10 years in between that.
But and I'm gonna let you talk for a second. It's like, but what you and I talk about is like, it doesn't just happen like overnight. These things like the sexualization, like it's a grooming process. And it's like they're easing this grooming process to exploit these kids. And that's a terrible thing.
So I had a friend of mine, she read an article about it, and just the way she was talking about the article was favored 145, right? Mm-hmm. And in having the conversation with her, I'm like, I'm trying to point out, she has her brother. Her brother is, has kids and stuff. They're not 14 yet, but she's like, oh, she got it from her brother. Her brother agrees with it. He lives in San Francisco, so it's a very, not surprising mindset on that. But, I asked her I was like, what do you think, he would say, like, if his 14-year-old son was in a position to have sex with a 24-year-old? And she was like, well, I think he'd say, I hope that I raised him
better, yeah.
Right. And then it hit me right as she said that, and it's something that, like, I've understand because I've heard it before. Is like, but then I thought, how about all those foster kids that don't have homes like that? Mm-hmm. How about all those single parent homes that don't have a 2-parent home to be able to kind of delineate from whether it's a male or female or anything like that? What about all those kids?
Which are the kids that are the most at risk? Yeah,
and we found out from going to the second Save the Children's rally that about 83 to 84% of the kids that are trafficked in the world come from DCFS. Mm-hmm. And it's like, whoa, at the same time we were hearing this, three girls probably between the age of 12 to 14 walk up and said, are you guys talking about DCFS? Oh, that's what we're living through right now. We're like, whoa. I mean, it just like boom, boom. It was crazy. But so I asked her to ask them that, and like, again, so it came to me and I thought about that other thing. And they're trying to, this is going to help the LGBT community. They always use it like they say, always take some kind of perceived weaker class and say, this is what we're doing it for. And I always ask, like, why you have to give agency to anyone? If the legal age is 18, what do you give an agency for that kid under 18 to have sex with someone who's over 18? Like, why does that? Like, why have it so far? Like, if it's 2-3 years or they went to school together within 2 years, that's a different story, because that happens in high school all the time, 2-3 years. But like, why does a 24-year-old and a 14, 15 or 16-year-old need to have anything to do with each other? And that's the question that like really blows my mind. Like, why does that need to be out there? It's like, instead of doing that, then just move the age back to 14. But they know that would never pass.
Well, it's almost like they're writing the legislation not for the child, but for the protection of the predator.
Yeah. It's not like they're doing it. They are doing it.
Yeah.
And they're saying like, and we know, like you said, the grooming process, we know, we've seen enough, read enough articles. We've seen enough, exposés about it. Like, the internet is where, and social media, where these kids get groomed. And every kid has a phone on them who, some parents we know are giving their kids phones as early as 10 years old.
Oh, way younger than that, brother.
Right.
I mean,
so now,
it's like,
so if you find somebody, they start talking to them at 10, or 11, 12, they have to wait a couple years, and then they can start going. And then the judge asks that 14 or 15-year-old, hey, was this consensual? And it's like, I love them.
Yep.
And then they move on, and you're the parent going, well, I was just trying to be a good person helping out the gay community. Now it's like, well, that's the shit you got to face. Like, these are the consequences for stuff that is put down. And one thing that just frustrates me about liberals when they say, oh, they'll never do that. It never go. It's like, it's in the law.
Yeah.
It's in there.
Yeah. In another thing, it's, I know you mentioned it the other day, I think, in an interview or a podcast talking about the ivory tower. It's like, we have to listen and be legislated by people out of San Francisco who can't run a functioning government, have, again, like a stream of homeless, have epidemics in terms of shitting in the streets and drugs and paraphernalia and violent crime and all that. And it's like, they are the ones that are the orders of what
are going to tell us how then we should live. And that's the thing that's like, that's all part of it, not just the corruption and the theft of people's money and ultimately their livelihood and their chance to have a life, but just like the ineptitude of all of it. And then they throw it in your face. We're sitting there, and we went to, yesterday was a really awesome day because we got to go to 2 different Recall Gavin Newsom rallies or events. One of them was in West Hollywood, of all places. Shout out to
for folks that don't know, that is a very liberal area.
I think most people know,
but I know. I mean, if people are watching this from all over, they really don't. Right. I mean, they would say LA, but specifically within LA, West Hollywood is real.
You know what? Let us know in the comments below.
Do you know what West Hollywood is?
Yeah, I mean, I think that one, that's like Paris, France. Like, you just kind of know. At least maybe that's my old liberal bubble that I used to. I believe it's.
You did work in West Hollywood, I believe.
I did. Bartended there. I didn't work for any. I worked behind the bar in a restaurant. Why you had to lean in and put that dark tone on it.
No.
Anyway, we were in West Hollywood. Shout out to. End up finding out. Speaking of one of the bars I work at, Chris Paul, we're going to do his show one of these days, but
not the guard for the Rockets, right?
Not the Rockets guard. I know he's at home because they got bounced out in the first round, but not that Chris Paul. Okay. He's a homie. Yes, he's a homie that used to be a promoter at this club that I used to work at, and we ended up going there invited by somebody else, and he's there. We're like, so it's cool to run into people like that, and you're kind of on the same page. So him and we call him the coolest cat in the world, Andre is just the coolest dude in the world. So he set it up, and that's where actually Samara, who you mentioned, was on Fox News today. Let me see if I can find it. Samara, let's see here.
Armstrong, I believe. What's up, Samara?
Yes.
That was a strong move today. Hat tip.
I didn't know it was that deep, I didn't know it was she went that hard on it, hard in the paint like that.
Yeah, man, good for her.
Well, let me see here. Yeah, no, so she was there. We had a good time. We had a good time, like just kind of connecting with each other, talking about the issues going on. We had our guy, Flow Like Water came out and gave us an interview. Thank you. We'll link it down below as well. And, and then we had one interaction. I wish it was recorded, but it was fun. And B, why don't you lead the way? Because she came at you first, right?
Yeah, and again, we have a table up with the big Recall Gavin sign on one of the most busy streets in LA, and most people were going by honking and thumbs up, and there was a lot of people coming by and signing and basically giving their testimony why they're like fed up. They're just, everybody had their issue. A lot of it was mismanagement of money and the homeless, and just, again, this COVID shutdown, which again is way worse in LA than other parts of the country, if people don't know that. But anyway, she comes over in her mask, super aggressive. And, we start getting into some of the topics that she wanted to talk about, and, why we want to have a recall vote. And, it sort of gets to the, to the COVID, and, we touch on some of the recent legislation. So sort of cutting to the end, she's sort of getting real heated, and she makes a comment about this COVID, and I point in my face. I'm like, look, I'm not wearing a mask. I say, do you think I think this is a serious thing? And she's like, well, do you not think anybody's died from this? I was like, yeah, I think about 9,000, 10,000 people have.
Just for this only. We want to be clear.
Yeah, for this only.
Just for this only, not like the ones with that and multiple other
morbidity effects. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, she sort of goes off. But the pretty thing is, and the unique thing about being able to be out and about in a liberal area is just like a liberal, she wanted to come back for another dose, and she just happened to basically come across Siaka. You guys had a cool interaction too, so tell me.
Yeah, no, and then so I see her come over, and what started out to be cool, because I saw her coming in like just wanting to look for a way. It's like double dutch. You can see them; they're just kind of like leaning in, and then they go. And she came in, and the guy who was running it, he's the official Recall Gavin Newsom page on Instagram. You follow those guys, and she comes in and he's like, yeah, I have a question. He's like, yeah, what's going on? He's like, well, she goes, stay back. I don't want to get your virus. And it's like, he says to her, he's like, that's insulting. You just assume putting it on something on people and stuff. And which I'm like, yeah, like, why are you going to come in just talking ish? You have no idea. If you have a real question, ask a real question, And so she starts going, and then I tell her, I'm like, well, we hate the fact that they changed your vote without telling anyone, back in March, about permanent mail-in vote, making you a permanent mail-in voter. By the way, California, check that. Gavin Newsom and their administration changed that for every registered voter. So
I wonder if other states did that as well, just because sort of under the COVID umbrella,
I wouldn't be surprised. You guys let us know if you're from anywhere else where that happened. Just let us know, and we'll talk about it and check it out. But so we talked about that, and she literally goes, "Oh, he did? Oh, good then." I'm like, "Good," and I'm like, "This is not how this country works. We get to decide. Somebody doesn't just do it under the cover of night and not tell anybody what's going on, especially the thing that is the most important thing, that gives us the most important power to decide who." Kind of rules over us to a certain extent, right? Who passes, who's able to enforce these laws, and who's able to, the main goal is to protect the people and provide, keep it open for opportunity, right? So then she gets in this space where she starts talking some about her mask, and I'm like, you're sitting here with your mask on when it doesn't even work. What are you wearing a mask for? She's like, well, because of air quality. I'm like, the health officials here said wearing a mask is not going to help you with the fires, so you might as well stay inside. I was like, so because the particles are too big. So I was like, you're out here wearing something that was not going to help you against the air quality, and you think you're protecting yourself against something that only kills 6% of the people who actually just get that virus before having anything else. I'm like, what are you talking about? And the thing that she does, and what we notice a lot is I'm not a white guy. I'm not so they can't toss out toxic masculinity or racist or white privilege. They can't do that. So they hesitate.
You're not a woman, so they can't say Karen or
nothing. So she was sitting there, and I saw her looking for it, and she threw out, she goes, oh, oh, you're just superior than I am. I'm like, no, I'm not. I just know more about this topic than you do. I'm like, well, what does superiority have anything to do? I was like, you can go look this stuff up. I didn't find the Holy Grail, man. It's just like I Google search this shit. You know, it's like it's your own people you listen to. You didn't know.
But again, someone at home that has never been in a situation like this, in the way that it trails off is it's literally like something that you're like, this doesn't happen in real life, but it does. She proceeds to look at us, and she starts looking at the cars that are basically like passing in front of us, and she does the old school, like in the playground, like look at that group over there, like that guy, they're crazy, and it's like you're an adult, you're a grown up, and it's like these are the reactions of literally a child. Man.
I mean, that's the conversation that, you know, I was even saying that to the wife who was there, who set it up.
Yeah.
I was like, you know, you have kids, right? She goes, yeah. I'm like, you know, you can get mad, but you don't argue with them like they're your equal. And it's, as we just saw right there, a lot of people don't know what the hell they're talking about. They mean it. Mm-hmm. They mean it because it's presented to them in a very, I mean, shit, dude. Media in Hollywood has a lot of money to make it work. And they have, like, a lot of times is the best of the best putting this stuff together. So of course it sounds like it's true. Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course, but doesn't mean it is. And the one thing that I always like to point out, like, look, it's okay to like not believe in their shit no more. It's fine. Because, like, again, they had Oprah and have all these like Beyonces and all these people to be like, trust us,
feel a certain way.
And now if you start finding out the truth about all those people and all these institutions, you're like, ooh, it's okay to go, I'm done. That's the beautiful thing about life and about choice. You know, you can, as they say in Brexit or Brexit, no, it's Brexit because it's BL.
Yeah.
Leaving the plantation. Like, you can get off that slave mentality, you know, that Bob Marley sings about, you know?
Yeah, man. Yeah. Before we hop off. So one of the things that we've been talking about and we pay close attention to is this election stuff.
Yes.
Again, it like not stating anything other, which is that they're probably going to contest the election. So they
already said that
they're going to do that. If people don't know, they're extending, days that they can receive mail-in ballots in Pennsylvania, which is a swing state. There's a lot of people, including organizations that are funded by Michael Bloomberg, former mayor of New York, billionaire, that are basically going to try to keep this in the court systems for an extended period of time. And the Democrats are totally lawyered up. So, look, man, there's some interesting stuff going on behind the scenes. Again, with Thiago was talking about the potential testimony or the witness list for Congress. So
yeah, we got what 21 indicted.
Yeah, we're in for a ride.
I'm telling you what, when they say like sometimes reality is stranger than fiction, man. Like, here we go. Like,
then they drop in a RGB. Like,
boom, real quick, and then she died while there's a COVID going on that the CDC changed to outbreak quietly. It's funny how quiet, like the stuff to kind of calm everything down is real quiet, but the stuff to scare people is real loud, huh?
Man,
I would say things that make you go, And with that, guys, thank you for checking us out. If you're out and about, check out tomorrow, 10 a.m. for the kids rally. Check out Scotty the Kid on Instagram because you'll have more up on that. And also with the 3 o'clock Beverly Hills, we always at least try to check that out. So
if you're in California, check out Major Williams.
Yep, our guy Major Williams. That was actually the second place we went to, and we're hopefully have Major on sometime soon, man.
Yeah. He's going to be the candidate or one of the candidates if this recall Gavin Newsom thing is successful. And
yes.
we've had the opportunity to meet him and talk with him and have meals with him and really get to know him in the last several months. And we think he has great things for the state. So
it's a good dude. Check him out, guys. All right, thank you. We'll talk to you soon. And hey, keep go look it up for yourself.
Seriously.